Joining me now by phone is MSNBC reporter Adam Reese, who has been covering this from the start. Adam, what can you tell us tonight?
Ed, good evening. I can tell you that the intense manhunt is probably getting underway right now. I just want to tell you, according to the sheriff of Franklin County, he was shot in Elephant's Head. That is south of Lake Titus, and that is south of Malone, where the DNA was located that they told us about today. So Sweat is either going north or south from there. If he's going south, it's likely he's going right into the arms of this large contingent of law enforcement. But if he's going north and if he realizes how close the Canadian border is, we spent some time with DHS and the Border Patrol. They have cameras all along. You're looking at the map right there. You see how close we are to Canada, only a matter of miles. They have cameras on numerous trees all along the border there. They call it Buckeye. These are cameras that automatically take a photo when there is a sensor activated. So they have those cameras in force should he have decided to go north into Canada. If he's gone south, he's likely going right into the area where there's a numerous law enforcement. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly they can capture him. I can tell you they have swarmed that area. As every day when there was a tip or a lead, they would just swarm the area. So I can imagine they've done this times 10 now that they've got Matt. And so, you know, the search for Sweat continues, and you can bet that they're just swarming that area.
Adam, tell us again, your information is that Richard Matt was shot near Elephant Head, which is south of the Titus Mountain area?
It's south of Lake Titus, which is also itself south of Malone, if you look at the map. The area is called Elephant's Head. This is just like all this other area of the Adirondack Mountains, just heavily wooded, very difficult, very hazardous to get through. You're looking at some of these pictures in front of you. Those officers are standing on someone's home grounds. But once you go back into those woods, you've got brush and you've got all kinds of debris that have added up over the years. And it was described by many people to us as just incredibly difficult to get through. So these guys have been making their way through these mountains, through these woods for days. But at least for one of them, it's come to an end.
Okay, and that is 48-year-old Richard Matt, confirmed dead, shot and killed by law enforcement earlier this afternoon. Let's turn now to Jim Cavanaugh, MSNBC law enforcement analyst. Jim, give us a sense of the search at this point. Does it intensify now that one of them has been shot and killed? And give us an idea of what we know about the possibility of them splitting up.
Well, you're hitting it spot on, Ed. I mean, these two guys were together, and they were very determined not to go back. You know, they're not people that could be facing a trial. They're facing the absolute certainty of the cell. I mean, they're both serving life. Sweat killed a police officer. Matt, a murder here and a murder in Mexico. With certainty, they know they're going back to the cell, and they also know they're not going to the honor building. So they're very determined to get away, and I think we may see that Matt, as you've discussed, you know, might have had a shotgun or a firearm, and he was engaged by an officer, and he was killed. Now Sweat is alone on the mountain. His partner's been killed. To be able to deal with all this. I mean, imagine you're in the North Woods, literally. You've got every officer and agent and U.S. Marshal after you. You got the border facing you. It's hard to think straight. I mean, I don't think he's going to last very long. He's not getting a lot of food. He's not going to be able to carry a lot of stuff, and he doesn't have a partner to encourage him. So the good news for the citizens is hopefully he'll be apprehended without anybody else getting hurt. But also, he's a very, very desperate guy, and he doesn't have a lot of options. So, you know, if he can get to somebody, there's still a potential for some, you know, injury or disaster to a citizen.
Jim Cavanaugh describing a very dire situation that David Sweat is feeling right now. The anxiety, not thinking straight, the pressure mounts. He doesn't have anyone to lean on. Does that make him, in the eyes of law enforcement, more dangerous, more desperate? Give us a sense of how law enforcement is viewing this search right now. What changes?
Yeah, well, it does change for law enforcement. It changes. It's better for them that be after just one, because two's worse. I mean, they can one can be the lookout, one can sleep, one can eat, one can rest. They can encourage and help each other. They can egg each other on. They could jump somebody by one talking to somebody, another guy jumping in the back. So they lose a lot of advantage. When it's one guy, remember you're dealing with one mind. And it's the collective wisdom of all the men and women of law enforcement there. And I used to like to call it, Ed, the collective wisdom in the command post. I mean, there's a command post there. The state police are running, Department of Corrections, all these sheriffs and police up in the region, federal agents, marshals, FBI, ATF, they're all there. They're all talking. They're all using their wisdom, and they're saying, how's he going to move? What's he going to do? And they've done a great job on that so far. We don't know of any citizens who've been injured or killed since they escaped. We don't know that anybody's been hurt. If that holds true, that's good news, other than just Matt, and that's a life loss certainly, but just him. Now, if Sweat can be captured tonight with nobody getting hurt, they can go back and revisit the investigation. I think the real tale here is when you're in the penitentiary and you've been tried by a jury or found guilty, and you truly are a guilty person. Now, there's a lot of innocent people that get trapped up in there too, but if you're truly a guilty person, you're not held just by the walls of the prison. You're held by the citizens of the United States and its laws. And just getting over the walls is not going to be good enough, because the citizens and its laws are going to track you down.
Jim Cavanaugh, MSNBC law enforcement analyst. Stay with us tonight as we have continuing coverage. Breaking news, Richard Matt, one of the two convicts, has been shot and killed by law enforcement in upstate New York. For more, let's turn now. On the telephone with us is Marq Claxton. He's the director of the Black Law Enforcement Alliance. 2,000 leads, 21 days. One man down and one man, David Sweat, still on the loose. Mark, thanks for your time tonight. Mr. Claxton, sum up the intensity of this search at this hour. What can you tell us?
Well, I'll tell you that the intensity really has picked up significantly, and has been previously stated, especially on the part of law enforcement now. I mean, there are some advantages now to just addressing or dealing with one person as opposed to two, as Jim laid out perfectly. But there's also a tremendous amount of anxiety from law enforcement when you're hot on that trail, when you feel as if you're close to draw a conclusion to this situation. It becomes a lot more emotional, a lot more adrenaline pumping, and a lot more focus on the obvious dangers that exist. And I can tell you just from personal experience, having been fishing up in Malone, New York, stayed in the cabin there, and being lost in the woods right alongside the Salmon River. It took the three of us 7 hours just to find a occupied cabin to be rescued from. And that was without stress, without, the feeling as if the walls are closing in on us, but us desperately trying to find our way through these thick woods, and accurately described at some points you really couldn't see 5 feet ahead of you. So it really is a really dense and thick vegetation. It's tricky maneuvering, and under a lot of stress, you're bound to make a mistake. And I think law enforcement has done a tremendous job of maintaining that perimeter and kind of trying to force a mistake out of both these individuals. One now at least in custody and reported killed, and the second one now, I'm confident, is desperately on the run and bound to make a mistake at some point.